As Barcelona are set to cash in on Neymar, Stevie Nicol picks the players he feels would help bolster Barca. Not long before 1 p.m. on the day that Neymar officially told FC Barcelona that he was leaving for PSG, I was, by complete chance, a witness to one of the last flights of fancy in which he indulged before leaving the Catalan capital. I don't suppose everyone knows Barcelona also has an Arc de Triomphe. It was built for the 1888 World's Fair, thus lagging behind its bigger brother in Paris by about a half-century. There I was on my bike, about 100 meters north of the Arc, which leads down to Barcelona's Ciutadella Park, as Neymar and a pal sped right in front of me in his metallic blue Audi with its 3747 JTH license plate. Whether he just fancied a last look at Barca's Arc before being introduced to baying PSG crowds atop the Champs-Élysées version in a couple days' time as the French capital comes to a halt to welcome this Peter Pan footballer, I don't know. But it would be an impish way to bid adieu to the city. Don't you think it'd love to say that he stopped to chat or even waved goodbye? I suspect he'd just finished his visit to a notary public, which helped tie up small but significant legal and bureaucratic details, but he sped off on his way along the Ronda de Sant Pere en route to the private VIP jet terminal adjacent to Barcelona's main airport. Really, this has been a clinical operation on the big day at least. First, to the training ground. A short, sharp meeting with the Barcelona power brokers, official confirmation that he was leaving and they couldn't stop him, some individual player goodbyes, sprint across town to that notary public, and then a roar of his German engine and burnt rubber en route to the airport, followed by Oporto, then Paris, and, in theory, the countdown to him being presented by PSG. Once the snarling, snapping, blame culture and cries of treason all subside, what lingers is a simple question: is the Camp Nou club as prepared as Camp Neymar have proved to be historically? Barca have lost a litany of elite footballers in this manner, by which I mean against the club's will, at the wrong time and to major rivals. Bernd Schuster, Michael Laudrup, Romario, Luis Figo, Ronaldo, all are Camp Nou legends, and all of them left in a cloud of dust before the club could do much about it. There were varied results, including when Luis Milla trod the path of treachery from Barcelona to Madrid amid much fuss and wailing, only for one of the beneficiaries to be a young Pep Guardiola, who was promoted. Clouds and silver linings. But the point remains that whether you like what he's done or not, this has been a pretty clinical exercise by the Brazilian so far. Pre-planned, thought through, lucrative, executed with reasonable class if you judge that his last acts were to score 3 goals in defeating Juventus and Manchester United and then to play his role in that 32 defeat of Madrid. He had the assist for the winning goal. Neymar didn't go AWOL before he deserted. In the cases of those previous abrupt and unwanted departures, Barca sometimes fared perfectly well. Other times, they creaked and groaned as if they'd taken a haymaker to the belly. So how do they stand now? Barcelona spokesman Josep Vives has confirmed Neymar has asked to leave the club. First, the team is sufficiently robust that this need not be that moment in Jenga when one strategically vital wooden block being removed brings the tower tumbling down. Second, a key question is how prepared they've been to reinvest some of the €222 million that is soon to head their way. On the latter, you'd have to give them a 410 for this. It's been barely a nanosecond in football terms since President Josep Maria Bartomeu was complacent in saying that PSG couldn't activate this buyout clause because it would automatically mean that they'd be breaching financial fair play. Welcome to the real world, Mr. President. That kind of "it can't happen here" mode of thinking implies that the recent scurrying and eclectic media briefings to see whether Philippe Coutinho, Ousmane Dembele, Kylian Mbappé or Paulo Dybala are Bible has been as knee-jerk and late in the day as they have appeared to be. It's not good. Not for the chances of success this season, not for the credibility, not for respect from the current squad, and certainly not for price. This is now the ultimate seller's market. For the record, while there will be a huge amount of criticism of the Barcelona board for allowing the most recent Neymar contract renegotiation to leave the buyout clause as low as double the world transfer fee, I think that only reflects the fact that the last time they sat with the Brazil star to talk Turkey, he was already in the power seat. Had they wanted, or indeed if they'd offered, to salary him sufficiently that they could impose a €600 million clause, it's clear to me that Neymar would have rejected it, valuing his freedom of choice and liberty in the coming years too highly. Neymar's exit isn't the surprise here. Instead, it's the fact that it appears to have caught Barca off guard. The reason why, at least in the eyes of the club socios members, the board must wear the dunce's cap and sit on the naughty step is that from the moment Neymar, his agent and his entourage refused to accept a vast and genuinely unpayable buyout clause, Barcelona sport director of football and coach should have been working diligently towards a what-if scenario. It's clear that they haven't been doing that, or at least they haven't done it to a sufficient standard. For what it's worth, my view is that the frantic chase of Coutinho might be misguided. They've fancied his caliber for a long time, and I know people at Anfield who, as far back as 2 years ago, were certain that this is where the smashing little talent would end up. But he was to be a companion player to Neymar, not a replacement. One of the things Barcelona's technical assessors have struggled with is whether they consider Coutinho a midfielder, an attacker or a winger. What role would he play? I think it's clear, although he plays off his right foot and has played wide right for Brazil in latter months, that helps most comfortable in the position Andres Iniesta has occupied for the majority of his time at the Camp Nou left midfield. Whether Coutinho's jack-in-the-box brilliance, which I don't think is complemented by quite the same keep-the-ball mentality as Iniesta possesses, or by the same degree of pressing, is what will bring competitiveness, balance and nous to the Barcelona midfield, I'm slightly dubious. If and that's a sizable if he is to become a left-sided attacker in that front three, then perhaps Barcelona have identified exactly the correct guy. Beyond his exquisite talent, and the fact that Liverpool persist in saying not for sale, I simply wonder if Coutinho is the right player at the wrong time for this specific Barcelona squad. I'd have imagined that finding and buying a footballer who gives the pace, diligence, team intelligence, pressing, goals and assists of a young Pedro would be the route via which to make the front three in tandem with Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez most efficacious. Let's say, for example, Inaki Williams. What the club Neymar is leaving behind still badly lack is a player like Marco Verratti or someone of his verisimilitude. It was neither their defense nor their attack that led Barcelona to fail in the Champions League and La Liga last season. Principally, it was the decline in possession, pressing, distribution and match control from the midfield. However, I think that the manner of Neymar's departure may have ripples in another direction. With Neymar's Barca future still in doubt, the FC panel look at rumours claiming Griezmann could be the man to replace him. Former Barca presidential candidate Agustí Benedetto claims to have built up sufficient numbers of FC Barcelona socios to meet the requirements in the club's statutes for a censure vote, the kind of action that, if successful, tends to mean the end for a president or his board. It's a big if in this case, but still, Benedetto assures us that from the first days in September, he'll present the requisite number of signatures from Barca members to trigger the motion that would, once begun, at least threaten the current hierarchy. So let's project. First, the cynics should have a healthy belief that whichever way the Neymar money is invested, the emphasis will be on investing it in a socio-pleasing way, probably still more than a coach or squad-pleasing way. Put simply, Coutinho may indeed be the perfect player for Barcelona's midfield. I may be wrong. However, if he's the guy this board thinks will ensure the longevity via popularity, despite the fact that Ernesto Valverde hypothetically tended to think like I do, then you can bet your bottom dollar what kind of decision the money men at Camp Nou will make. Secondly, if Barcelona happen to be less competitive without Neymar and thus lose the 2 Super Cup matches to Madrid, you can expect all hell to be let loose around the Camp Nou. Expect the name Benedetto to thrive, and expect coruscating examinations of the current board to be a daily, perhaps hourly fact of life in the Catalan media. And expect an increasing devil-may-care nature in Barcelona's spending to replace Neymar by popularity and suit the discontent that's currently bubbling up among fans who support this club and the media who cover it. These are tough times for Barca, unfair times, you might say. But why didn't they see it coming? Graham Hunter covers Spain for ESPN FC and Sky Sports. Author of Barca, the making of the greatest team in the world. Twitter @BumperGraham.